Well, the NDA in Bihar has released its manifesto today. It's an attempt to strike a balance between populism and governance. Some of the key promises include 1 crore plus government jobs for unemployed youth. The NDA is promising skill sensors, skill centers. In Bihar, there'll be centers of excellence, an international airport in Patna, defense corridor, semiconductor park, factories in every district. The emphasis clearly is on industry, investments and infrastructure. 1 crore women to become Lakhpati Didis, Mission Crorepati to make women entrepreneurs, aids for farmers. There'll also be factories, loan assistance for EBC communities, 50 lakh new houses for the poor. The NDA is promising 9 lakh crore in infrastructure alone for Bihar. The attempt is to envision something for a futuristic Bihar is what the BJP is saying. This is an NDA manifesto. The alliance has also said that it will develop Sitamarhi as an international spiritual destination in the state of Bihar. Ankit, my colleague, joins us. He's tracking the elections very closely from Patna. Ankit, Patna is going to be developed as a satellite city. There are going to be food parks, IT parks. So clearly the focus seems to be on investment. Tell me, what are the key takeaways, the highlights from the manifesto today?
Well, come the elections and finally the manifesto of the NDA is also here. And Vasudha, we have covered so many manifesto releases, and in those particularly, everything is promised to the voters. It's a slew of promises, but I'm glad to see that the top focus is on the jobs. So jobs become the prime focus. We saw that in the Mahagathbandhan manifesto. We are seeing this in the NDA. But before I get you the highlights of what happened, something peculiar happened as far as the manifesto release of the NDA is concerned. While two things stood out. Number one, unlike the Mahagathbandhan, where yes, there was Tejasvi Yadav and the local leadership of the Congress and the Gathbandhan, but that central leadership, the top leadership, and the question was raised, where is Mallikarjun Kharge, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi in the manifesto release? Ashok Gehlot represented the Congress party along with Krishna Alabaru and others of the local leadership. But the fact is that they wanted to draw a contrast, and that is why you saw JP Nadda coming in, the BJP President, Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, Chirag Paswan, Jitin Ram Majhi, Upendra Kushwaha, Deputy Chief Minister was also here. So there was a united front that was presented, led of course by JP Nadda, the President of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and the idea was to showcase the difference where the Sankalp Patra of the Mahagathbandhan largely has translated into Tejasvi Sankalp Patra. It's just one-man show. On the other hand, the NDA wanted to put a joint foot forward. The other important political messaging, and that was very surprising for many. We've covered many manifesto release, and the top leadership of the NDA came. And Vasudha, it was just a photo op. Within 60 seconds of standing there, JP Nadda, Nitish Kumar, Chirag Paswan, Upendra Kushwaha, Jitin Ram Majhi all left without speaking a word or even going through the highlights of what their manifesto is. It was left to Samrat Chaudhary to do that press conference, because the kind of names that were given for this press conference, the expectation was that it was going to be, a big bang press conference. For the first time, there will possibly be some questions that could be posed to the Chief Minister Nitish Kumar in a long time. He does his rallies, but he's not been interacting with the press much. But that didn't happen. They just stood up, held the manifestos and left, and then Samrat Chaudhary was left to read the highlights. Like you were also discussing few of the things, important factors. The overall vision is to show that how they want to take Bihar to the next level. After 20 years, the questions that are being asked about where are the jobs, the answer is that we are going to come up with IT parks. 1 crore jobs would be given. That remained a big focus as far as the manifesto is concerned. Developing Patna, areas adjacent to it as satellite towns, that also remained a big focus as far as the NDA is concerned. And the other big focus was on, once again, the women, from taking Lakhpati Didis to Crorepatis, including at least 1 crore more Crorepati Didis, the 10 lakh loan that they are talking about. And then the focus shifted to the EWS, the EBC section, where a commission will be formed once the government is in, and that commission is going to look into the demands and what do they need for their upliftment. So the whole idea is to try and give a message that the development now will be taken to the next stage.
Right. Also, Ankit, unlike in the states of Madhya Pradesh or for that matter Haryana or Maharashtra, where we did see the BJP announce a Ladki Bahin Yojana, or Mahila Samman Yojana. Here it seems like the BJP wants to depend on its existing schemes of pension, and there is no outright income support for women, but there is a promise of assistance to women. I want you to elaborate on that, because clearly this seems to be there seems to be a certain sense of confidence that the NDA has that its schemes for schemes for women are at least working in Bihar. Let's first take a look at some reactions that have come by before I come to you.
सबसे पहले है हर युवा को नौकरी और रोजगार देना। 1 करोड़ से अधिक सरकारी नौकरी, रोजगार प्रदान करना, कौशल विकास करना और हर जिले में मेगा स्किल सेंटर से बिहार को ग्लोबल स्किलिंग सेंटर के माध्यम से के रूप में स्थापित करना। और तीसरा जो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है, अति पिछड़ा वर्ग को आर्थिक और सामाजिक बल देना। अति पिछड़ा वर्ग के विभिन्न समूह को 10 लाख रुपए की सहायता देंगे, एवं जो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है कि हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट के रिटायर्ड जज की अध्यक्षता में एक उच्च स्तरीय समिति का गठन करेंगे, जो अति पिछड़ा वर्ग की विभिन्न जातियों के सामाजिक आर्थिक स्थिति का आकलन करके इन जातियों को सशक्तिकरण के लिए न्यायोचित कदम उठाने का सरकार को सुझाव देगी।
We have Shubrasta joining us. She's an author. She's also a political consultant. Thank you, Shubrasta, for joining us on NDTV. As somebody who has worked in different states, including Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, first of all, explain to us how important is the idea of a manifesto for the people of Bihar. From Tamil Nadu, I can tell you that it's very important. Everybody wants to know what every party is promising. But does the manifesto hold a lot of relevance in Bihar?
Thank you, Vasudha. Thank you for having me on your show. Look, manifesto is really important for any election because it really shows the intent and commitment of political parties in navigating through not just what the voters are thinking, but also what they are thinking with respect to voter aspirations. So it is really a reflection of how the party, if they come to power, would work through the entire maze of issues that a state faces. With respect to Bihar, I think it's very important to acknowledge two things. One is that women voters have, as different political parties and different states have shown in the past, women voters have emerged as a strong bloc, not just as vote banks, but also as beneficiaries who in turn are becoming architects of the new state. Now, it totally depends on women, Vasudha, from here on. What exactly do they demand from the political parties? Because till now, what has been happening is that they have been given certain kind of money or certain kind of schemes or certain kind of SOPs, and I think they've been okay with that. My question is, will they go a step further and demand to be architects of these schemes? That's where the buck stops. Now, with respect to the other conversations around jobs, around safety and security concerns in Bihar, I think it's important to acknowledge that RJD is going through and will continue to go through a baggage that is very heavy on them till they come out clean on the law and order situation and say what exactly are they going to do to shed that image of Jungle Raj being posted on their forehead. Nothing is going to really change, and no voter in Bihar, irrespective of which party they believe in, is going to acknowledge that Tejasvi Yadav or Mahagathbandhan is going to work on that count.
Right.
I hope I answered your question.
What are the key differences and what do you think really stands out in the NDA's manifesto? What would your answer be, and how would that really compare to how the Mahagathbandhan has, what the kind of promises that the Mahagathbandhan has made for the people of Bihar?
I think, Vasudha, going by what the Prime Minister spoke yesterday and what he spoke today, there are two things which strike me. One is the connect that the NDA has with respect to ground realities. And when I say the NDA, I essentially mean the Prime Minister. When a Prime Minister goes to a place like Muzaffarpur and he starts talking about Lakhpati, which is a very, very indigenous identity of the state, it talks about that being an industry and how women are being associated with that. It immediately strikes an emotional chord.
Right.
It also goes on to say that the SMEs, the mudra loans, the kind of 10,000 rupees that has been debited recently in accounts of women, he is basically tying up all of that to say that women need to become self-independent and women need to start investing in their own enterprise.
Right.
I think that also stands out in the manifesto for the kind of allowances that are being offered to women and or that is being promised to women.
Right.
We also look at Tejaswi's campaign, and when we also look at Tejaswi's Pran in form of the manifesto, we see how Jivika Didis are being offered 30,000 rupees. We can fight tooth and nail on how he's going to go about doing it.
Yeah.
But the point is that they all acknowledge that these women who are the backbone and architects of the state's economy need to be placated, and perhaps my agenda is to say
Right.
they need to push forward and say we need to be the architects of these things.
Okay, that's a very important, owning this accountability and owning this part. Thank you, Shubrasta, but stay with us. Ankit, I want you to elaborate on the optics of the press conference today, because like you pointed out, all key leaders of the NDA present today vis-a-vis Rahul Gandhi absent in the Mahagathbandhan press conference. How is that playing out today on ground?
We'll have to wait and see whether these optics do have any impact as far as the people are concerned. But like we, as journalists, we try and dissect this and we keep talking about the optics in politics. Veera Raghav is also with me, our man from Bengaluru who has travelled now the length and breadth of Bihar, or largely at least in constituencies around Patna. Veera, Vasudha was asking the optics. We discussed it ad nauseum when the Mahagathbandhan manifesto was released. Rahul Gandhi and the top leadership of the Congress party not present here. The attempt was a contrast with JP Nadda, with the Chief Minister, all the big constituents. For 30 seconds. Do you feel that it has an impact? Is it just the noise that we make in media without any, any sort of impact on the people?
I think this is about showing a sense of solidarity. That's fine. That's just as far as the optics. In terms of saying that everybody is together, the Congress would turn around and say that, look, we had Tejaswi Yadav, we are rallying behind him. There is no big deal. Why are you even questioning that? Because categorically, this is an election that Tejaswi Yadav is leading. For instance, if Stalin's going to release a manifesto in Tamil Nadu, where is the Congress? It's irrelevant. It's Stalin's face. So I think that's just a media optics discussion. But I think the core issue is that this is a state with 5% of its fiscal GDP being fiscal deficit. A fiscal deficit is over 5% of its GDP, which is unhealthy for a state, right? So the question is that are these promises even financially viable? You can turn around and say, is any manifesto viable? But it is. For instance, there are states which can implement a slew of welfare measures. Karnataka, for instance, has shown that, irrespective of the long-term consequences. The question is that can Bihar afford it? And I don't know if that's what's going to resonate amongst the people, though I just spoke to a Congress leader who told me this is largely going to be about where the EBCs are going and where the women votes are going. Rest of it is pretty much defined on those lines.
Eventually, it is about the caste loyalties and the vote bank that Nitish Kumar has been able to generate among the women, the Jivika Didis and so on and so forth. But let me ask you this. It was an interesting conversation that Vasudha and I were just having. Unlike what the BJP or the NDA has done in Maharashtra or Madhya Pradesh, where they are giving a monthly dole to the women, this time in Bihar, it's not a monthly dole. They are saying we'll make more Jivika Didis, we'll make 1 crore Lakhpati Didis, and we'll give you financial assistance if after this 10,000 rupee that we have given you. If you have a project, you'll get financial assistance.
Sir, look, Maharashtra's financials are very different. Tejaswi Yadav has promised job for every household, 3 crore, which is an outlay of 9 lakh crores. I don't know if any of this is financially viable. The question will also be raised on why was it not delivered? You were in power for 20 years. So you see, it's very difficult for NDA to justify certain promises because they've been in power. So that question will be returned back. But I think, Ankit, at least from the Bihari journalist, and I don't know much about Bihar, I'm a novice here, as you know. I think from the journalists here, I don't think these are substantive issues that are going to be a matter of discussion or electoral choice. I think this is going to be one that's still fought on the old lines. and the 18 to 25 aspirational class where they're going to go. If they're going to go largely with Prashant Kishore, I think it will be difficult for the MGB. If they're going to consolidate with the MGB and they're able to take the EBC vote, and this is my understanding, is that that's the way they'll move forward. I'm not sure the manifesto or the promises are going to be the key electoral choice issue, though there are the narrative issues.
Yeah. Absolutely. So like, the attempt of, every political party would be to try and focus, at least talk about this. But like I was saying, Vasudha, right in the beginning, the good thing is that even in the manifestos, the focus is on the jobs. We can talk about the viability of what they are talking about, but the first line of the NDA manifesto was also 1 crore jobs. They do realize that the young are talking about this, and they're trying.
Whether it is the Jivika Didis, whether it's the migrant laborers, whether it's the girls that I met at Patna Women's College, or whether it is the Gen Z that I met at the malls, their one big complaint is that why are there no big companies here? For instance, the question is, who's Bihar's IT minister? The fact is that do they even have one sector which they are focusing and promoting the state, and that's going to be the critical challenge.
Absolutely. Vasudha.
Right. Thank you, Ankit and Veera. Stay with us. Shubrasta, talk to us about the optics of today that Ankit was also pointing to. The fact that all allies of the NDA did come together. You saw Nitish Kumar there holding that manifesto along with JP Nadda, along with Chirag Paswan. Does that also give out a message of reassurance to people? How do people of Bihar look at this?
So I slightly disagree with V. Raghav when he says that manifesto is not going to be a conversation. It would not have, if the kind of conversation that it has generated around women voters and around Jivika Didis, had this not been the case, I would have agreed with V. Raghav. Look, you need to understand who are Jivika Didis. These are creations of Nitish Kumar's, let me stick out my neck and say, extremely feminist policies that he had come up with in the first 2 years of his governance. So you have 30% of reservation for women in all government, jobs. He's already done that. He was the first one to have started 50% reservation in local panchayats and all forms of local governance. He's the one who has constantly augured for women participation. I wouldn't say women leadership, but women participation politically and in the state economy. Now, what this has really done is, whether Tejasvi saying that I'm going to offer 30,000 rupees to women every month, Jivika Didis every month, or the kind of conversation that we are having today, it has established that Jivika's is a huge success. Now, this means a lot for a East Indian state like Bihar, where entrepreneurship has not really been the buzzword. We keep talking about how to take Bihar out of the socialist loop and all of that. It's the women of Bihar who are going to decide this time. And this is an acknowledgement across parties that women have arrived not just as vote banks, but as an unlocked community who is going to take the state forward.
Okay, so women as active voters and active leaders. Shubrasta, is a very beautiful point. Ankit, also help us understand, Shubrasta was talking about baggage that the RJD is often projected to have, and that's something that it struggles to fight against. Help us understand this baggage versus anti-incumbency. Nitish Kumar has been the chief minister since 2005 in the state. How is that sentiment playing out on the ground, and how are these manifestos going to sort of impact or influence those decisions and outcomes?
If I can just put it very mildly, the 15 years of Lalu Prasad Yadav's rule, rightly or wrongly, we can talk about the data and so on and so forth, but that 15-year rule baggage is a bigger mountain for Tejasvi Yadav to climb than even the 20 years of anti-incumbency against Nitish Kumar. Because when you talk about, people would say eventually, kaam nahi hua, bahar jana padta hai, there are no jobs, there is nothing that is happening, move out from Patna and you will not see the infrastructure that many people are talking about. But who do they have faith still who can turn it around? If you talk to 10, 6 will then even, and I'm talking about the disgruntled voters of the NDA, 7 will still eventually turn around and say, but Nitish Kumar ही कर पाएंगे because हमें 15 साल पुराने वाला वो time नहीं चाहिए. That is a bigger baggage for Tejasvi Yadav to in fact climb than the anti-incumbency for Nitish Kumar. And let me also say, because I was here for the 2020 election as well, the anti-incumbency and the anger against Nitish Kumar to throw him out of the power was much more in 2020 than it is now. Having said that, I'm not at all saying that it's an easy election as far as the NDA is concerned. At least traveling for a couple of weeks here, you still see the caste identities playing very, very strongly. It's among the women and among the young where you see the churn. And where are these leakages going to go? That is possibly going to decide the election, whether it goes to Prashant Kishore or it trickles down from NDA to Mahagathbandhan. That is the fight that possibly in a close election that both these alliances are running.
That's very important. Shubhra sir, you've been writing a lot about women vote. You also spoke about it. Does the caste barrier that Ankit speaks about, does it also affect women? Do you also see, a Yadav woman, or for that matter, a Muslim woman voting for Nitish Kumar in huge numbers just because he has also had feminist policies, women-centric policies in the last many years?
Vasudha, for Nitish Kumar, yes. For BJP, I'm not very sure. But caste equations in Bihar have largely been of the male preserve. I'm sticking out my neck and saying this because I've seen 2015 elections up close and personal when Nitish was on the other side of the political aisle. And I saw how women from RSS households actually rallying for Nitish Kumar because of the women-centric policies and women-centric politics that he had played. We see a similar kind of alignment this time with the NDA. And this time, it's NDA and it's not just Nitish. Look, you have to understand that when you give 10,000 rupees to women in a state which is extremely poverty-ridden, in a state like Bihar, it does play an impact. And this, I was just watching a couple of, video reports from ground by different, digital creators, content creators, and of course, journalists as well. What really struck me was the fact that men, the card-holding men from RJD, from the other side of the political aisle, they're extremely worried about the fact that it is going to dismantle the kind of structures that they had created around them. So I see this as a huge, huge political opportunity for the state. And I also see that women voters in Bihar are far more advanced when it comes to taking these decisions, primarily because at a policy level, they have been trained to be so.
Right.
When you have Jivika Didis, please understand these are not JDU women.
Okay.
These are not women from BJP or JDU or LJP alone. These are women these are secular women.
Right.
By secular, I don't really mean Hindu, Muslim, but women from all across and a cross section of societies.
Right.
If you target them, you are basically saying that we are standing for brand Bihar and not for brand Kushwaha or brand Yadav or brand XYZ. So I think it does cut
So this
across.
is also an attempt to go beyond caste. Ankit, my question to you is, there seems to be a lot of promises that both sides have made for EBC communities. Can you help us understand the political significance of this community that both sides seem to be very intent on sort of attracting?
I think the battle of Bihar this time, apart from the women and the young that we keep talking about, is also about to try and capture the mind space as far as the EBC community is concerned, which has very solidly stuck behind Nitish Kumar. He comes from the Kurmi community, and around that, Nitish Kumar has been able to, that community is just about 2.6% of voters, but he has been able to create this coalition of the EBCs, those who see him as their neta, and hence Nitish Kumar, along with a little bit of the Muslim vote who have not averse to voting him, goes up to 13-14% when it actually matters as far as elections are concerned. And that's where with Rahul Gandhi speaking about the vote chori or the adhikar chori, the whole jatra that was taken out, their focus was also on the EBC and the Dalits. That your right to vote will be taken. This is just the first step of deletion. Whether that is happening or not happening, that's a different debate. But at least there was a battle to take that mind space. And with the BJP also, look at the coalition. Why is it important to give Upendra Kushwaha the 6 seats that they have? Jitin Ram Majhi to be included, Chirag Paswan to be included. And despite all the squabbling, there was still this whole factor of the Malla, the Nishad community, where possibly at one point of time, Mukesh Sahani was also toying with the idea whether he can go with the NDA or he sticks with the Mahagathbandhan.
Right.
And that is why he finds his space in the Mahagathbandhan, the Pan Tatwi community of IP Gupta. So the whole idea is to try and fracture that, because this time at least the Mahagathbandhan feels that Nitish Kumar is running his weakest campaign. He is at his weakest, and possibly that is why there is this whole fight to try and figure and see whether they can be projected as the new EBC leaders trying to get away some vote from Nitish Kumar.
Right.